can make a play. It changes how you have to guard her with ball screen coverage. I mean, she's a very exciting, electric player in the open floor.
This is a player who put up 40 points in a game against Georgia Tech. That's the most by any ACC player in a conference game this season. So she can bring it in just a couple of games left in the regular season. Starting lineup for the Clemson Tigers, wearing their orange on the road as they go inside to Amari Robinson. Told you about Delisha Washington, Deja Nunu Bradford running the point, Hannah Hank and Maddie Ott, the starting five. Olivia Miles, what a tremendous freshman year she has had. Good passing on the interior. Dodson to Westbeld for the first points of the game.
A trademark of Notre Dame offense is three-point shooting and very good interior passing. That was a nice look right there inside. Notre Dame starting out in a zone. Amanda Butler told us her team went against only zone against Duke in their three-point loss in their last game in Littlejohn.
There's your starting five for the Irish. There's a little miscommunication there between the freshman Miles and Citron, have both been tremendous for the Irish this year. Maya Dodson, one of those seniors being honored, the grad transfer from Stanford, along with Dara Mabry and Maddie Westbeld.
Well, 3 possessions and 2 turnovers for the Irish. So let me just say this at the beginning and then move on from it, because it is disturbing that in the 3 games that Clemson and Notre Dame have played, Notre Dame has lost all 3. Clemson has turned them over a total of 60 times in 3 combined games. So that's an issue that Notre Dame has to clean up.
Good defense being played that time by the Irish to get the ball back. And this is what you're talking about, Debbie. The last 3 in the series have all gone the way of the Tigers, and there's some of the numbers that explain why.
These are the averages. So in the 3-point shooting, Notre Dame combined in the 3 games 10 for 46. So Clemson's ball pressure has bothered them. Their full court pressure has bothered them. And I think their quickness, their length, and their athleticism has been an issue as well.
Teams met twice last year, including in the ACC tournament second round. Notre Dame, the 6th seed, was upset by the 11-seeded Tigers. Ended any hope that they might have had of trying to get to the NCAA tournament. Snapped their streak of 24 straight appearances. Good bucket by Bradford to give the Tigers the lead.
And that's the pace that Clemson wants to play. They want to make Notre Dame take quick shots, play in a hurry, play faster than maybe they're comfortable playing, and then try to score quickly before Notre Dame can get organized in their defense.
Olivia Miles fouled on her way to the basket, as you see. Amanda Butler, her 4th season as head coach of the Tigers.
And Nehemiah and London, if you're still awake, because it's almost bedtime, your mom is missing you and she wants you to go to bed by the 2nd quarter.
You're sharing coach messages for their children now. This is her. Got to make sure.
Yeah,
we take care of each other, don't we?
We know how it goes. Those kids got to go to bed soon, so Janet can enjoy the rest of the game.
Really a positive energy around this Clemson team at shoot-around earlier today. That's something that Amanda Butler really stressed when we spoke with her, that this group, she just wants so badly to help them get over that hump. As you mentioned, so close in that last game against Duke, just 3 ACC wins on the season. They've had a couple of key players who wound up leaving the team that they've had to contend with. But this group, she said, just so positive. And they are certainly making life difficult for Notre Dame right now, as Maddie Westbeld has nothing to do but hang on, jump ball to call.
Oh, great energy from Clemson and Amanda Butler's team. No surprise there. And Neil Ivey, we talked to her before the game. She said that her, the scout team guys that they have had in practice have had a factor in helping them handle the ball, handle pressure. Coming off the Louisville game, Louisville very similar, very good ball pressure team.
Last 2 games on the road for the Irish. Having to go to Louisville as Robinson gets to the basket for 2, and then to Georgia Tech. They got the win in overtime down in Atlanta. Olivia Miles, second in the nation in assists per game, 6 on the shot clock. Miles takes it in herself.
She has no problem calling her own number, particularly in a late clock. And there goes Washington, like a blur.
Got her own rebound too, swatted away by Westbeld on the second attempt. Dara Mabry's got both hands up, calling for it on the other side. Miles opted to take it herself.
Maddie Ott with a really good box out.
Bradford around and out.
Bradford shot it really well in shoot around today.
Mabry. A little deeper than maybe she would like to have been, but certainly we know the type of range that Dara Mabry has. What a tremendous job Niele Ivey has done with this group this year, coming into this game tonight with a record of 20-6 overall, 11-4 in the conference, 12-4, excuse me, and they've just done a tremendous job with a pretty short bench, Debbie. They only go a couple deep, really, especially with some of the injuries to Abby Prohaska and Kate Gilbert, who's been out much of the season.
I think Niele has done a fantastic job this season. You know, she is much more comfortable being the head coach at Notre Dame. You got to understand what comes with that, more than just the X and O's and all the responsibility for the brand that Notre Dame represents inside the game, and I think she's been a tremendous ambassador for our game.
After some struggles last year, this team trying to prove they are back into that upper echelon, this program. 2 NCAA championships, the most recent coming in 2018, and there's a triple from Mabry.
Okay, so Brunel's playing with one shoe, number 33 in white. She's got one green shoe on and a sock on. She tossed the shoe to the sideline. I would go to that side of the zone and make her play defense.
Good eye, Debbie. Clemson's on the other side. There's Brunel, a one-shoed rebound off the bench. Mabry just hit one on the other side.
I don't know how you play basketball with one shoe. I'm afraid she's going to get hurt, actually.
She's just hoping the ball goes out of bounds. Washington hits the deck. She was fouled. It's a 1-point game so far, but now we're happy to see Sam Brunel gets one shoe back. But look at this, she grabs it with one.
You get extra points for this in the stat sheet. There's a new category. One shoe rebounded. That's funny.
Missed her last 5 field goal attempts. Still down just a point, though.
They turned Notre Dame over 3 times, Jen. They've scored 2 points off those 3 turnovers, and that's a number to keep an eye on. Notre Dame is 1 for 4 outside the 3-point line. Now, this Notre Dame team only makes 5.5 threes a game, so it's not like a team that Muffet had that shot the 3 a lot.
Delisha Washington, Whip, as she is affectionately known around the Clemson program, work in progress. It's what everybody calls her at shoot-around. She embraces it.
She's the only player in the league that I can discuss Social Security and AARP, and she knows what I'm talking about. She's a 6th-year player and has really had an incredible February. It's the right time for seniors. Typically, you see that sense of urgency start to come over them that, you know, this is getting close to the end. And, you know, she has improved her WNBA stock. Now, I'm not sure where or if she might get drafted, as Sonia Citron I think just trips in the middle of the floor on the ACC logo. I think she tripped on the logo, Jen. I've seen you do that before.
I say, Debbie, come on, you don't call that out. That's not nice.
Well.
Brunel, both shoes on, and they have Peoples. Aaron's on that attempt. Kiki Gaines leading the way for Clemson, but turns it right back over.
See, this is where Miles is so good. Open floor, unbalanced floor, great vision. And then she makes a really good decision. There's nothing there, probes, pulls it back out.
Brunel.
Yeah.
Easy.
That's the Sam Brunel shot chart, the middle third of the floor. That's where she makes plays from the elbows all the way to the three-point line. She's really good in that part of the court.
Burnell hitting 62% of her two-point field goal attempts on the season. Very reliable there. Washington pulls up. Rebound on the offensive side for Eno Inyang. There is Citron, one of the leading contenders for ACC Freshman of the Year, won the Freshman of the Week award 6 times. Dodson just in a wall of Clemson arms defending the paint. Miles not on the floor. You feel her absence. It seems a little bit slow to get this play moving, but when it ends like that, you don't mind.
Well, you go inside out, and Maya Dotson delivers it back to Mabry right in the shooting pocket. Mabry's hands are ready, her feet are ready. She's loaded to the ball. It's beautiful.
Eight to shoot. Robinson will try the three. Banks it!
I mean, she doesn't make a lot of threes. That's just her 6th of the season, and she's a 12% free three-point shooter. So, might be one of those nights for Clemson.
Well, maybe she's got a little Irish luck on her side. Her dad, Keith, played here at Notre Dame for Digger Phelps and is actually in the building tonight watching his daughter play. Inyang blocks Citron's first attempt, but she just kept right at it and will go to the free throw line.
I was here for the men's game last night. I saw Digger Phelps. He was in here. He gave me one of his Sharpies with his autograph on it.
Sharpie or a highlighter?
No, it was a Sharpie. Okay. I've got several of those from Digger.
Okay.
I think he misses Muffet. I think Muffet should reach out to him and say hello. I think he was looking for her.
Do you want one of my Sharpies? You want me to sign one for you?
No.
It's not the same.
Well, not quite.
Just throwing it out there. I have a lot of them.
Digger, what a legend. Yeah. You know, Mike Brazy, all-time winningest coach here on the men's side. They had a big win against Syracuse last night. Actually, the Notre Dame men are in 2nd place. Mike Bray is candidate for Coach of the Year. He's done a fantastic job. Got a veteran team, a bunch of older guys that know how to play. They really played well last night, especially in the second half.
Now the Irish women trying to finish things strong at home, on the road for their last 2. They have this game tonight against Clemson. And then the 4th-ranked Louisville Cardinals coming in here on Sunday as Citron gets a nice round of applause.
That's a mistake in transition not to locate Citron. And that's how dangerous that Notre Dame offense can be, because if you make a mistake, they can make you really pay.
Inyang lost the ball on the inside. Peoples came away with it. Dodson, nothing but net.
Look at the Irish move the ball. And got a player down for Clemson. Inyang, I believe.
Yes.
Gives us a chance to see Donna Bullock go out on the floor, the athletic trainer for Clemson, who actually has been honored by the ACC for her service. Maybe there's something on the floor there, because Citron tripped in the same place.
And she looked like she hit Washington's leg coming down and just took her leg out from under her.
But Donna Bullock there, you see, Donna has been a long-time trainer at Clemson, and everyone in the ACC knows Donna, not just players and coaches, but referees. She's taking care of everyone, including us. Looks like she's okay, and I hope she can be okay and come back in the game, because as you mentioned, Clemson, they play a lot of people. Amanda Butler likes to go deep into her bench.
It's a 6-0 Irish run. Shot blocked by Dodson, the ACC's leading shot blocker, going to make the Tigers think twice when she's in the vicinity.
Well, they worked on this today, getting the ball to the short corner, but Hannah Hank's got to make a better decision with that. A little pump fake, because you know Maya Dotson is coming out to block that shot. Maya Dotson is a really good shot blocker and a very good offensive rebounder for Notre Dame.
Tigers stepped out of bounds, so they'll turn it back over to the Irish.
Which gives me a chance to tell you that there are 17 planks from the end line to the three-point line. I counted them today. It seems to be a consistent theme with the floor manufacturer.
I'm definitely expecting a count every gym that you are in
I've been doing it, you know, because a lot of players are stepping out of bounds. Your footwork has to change. Maybe we should do a little video on that. What your footwork needs to look like when you're going to the corner to shoot a three.
Washington heave at the buzzer. It is senior night here at Notre Dame tonight, and there was a special surprise waiting for Dara Mabry pregame. We'll tell you about it, show you the moment when we come back.
5 kids and tough jersey. You know, just a really fun family to be around. Just a great group of kids. I think I put that on my bucket list to be able to have dinner at the Mabry's house. I wonder what those recruiting trips were like for Muffet McGraw.
You're not talking to Muffet though tonight.
No, not tonight. I'm not talking to him.
Offensive foul called against Citron there. And you might have noticed we did do a little research and look to see how the 2 elder Mabry sisters did, Michaela and Marina, on their senior nights. Well, they were winning either the ACC regular season title or clinching a #1 seed. This Irish team can't do that, but they do have a chance to get the double bye, and each of them hit at least 2 threes. Dara had that in the first quarter, and we've got back-to-back offensive fouls to start the second quarter. Michaela on the bench on Neil Ivy's staff.
Of course, Muffet didn't coach Dara. Dara was at Virginia Tech the first couple of years. And then she transferred into Notre Dame.
Mabry looking to make it 3 from 3, and she does.
On cue, Dara Mabry forcing Clemson into a timeout.
And continuing our storyline, 10-point Notre Dame lead at home. So far, and 3 of the 4 they've made have come from Dara Mabry.
Well, their spacing is outstanding, and they're getting the ball inside and then kicking it back out, and that's a tremendous way to get a free 3. And then Citron right here with a nice pass along the baseline, the drift pass to the corner. Really good balance by Notre Dame. They're taking care of the basketball in the last almost 7 minutes. After turning it over a couple of times early, they didn't turn the ball over in the last 7 minutes of the first quarter.
Eight on the shot clock for Washington, who does not have a field goal in the game. The ACC's leading scorer in conference play. Just a couple of free throws so far. Welcome to those of you joining us now. We are at Notre Dame. That's a shot clock violation against the Clemson Tigers, who are trailing the 14th ranked Fighting Irish by 10 here in the second quarter. Jen Hildreth, Debbie Antonelli on the call. And what is at stake for Niele Ivy's team tonight is an opportunity with a win to snag one of those double byes in the ACC tournament. Regardless of whatever else happens, they know a win here against Clemson tonight gets them the double bye. So plenty on the line for this Notre Dame team that right now Charlie Cream is projecting as a 4 seed in the NCAA tournament. Good work on the glass there by Sonia Citron, the 6-time ACC Freshman of the Week for the Irish this season.
The game started with Clemson turning Notre Dame over and making them hurry offensively. Now here in the second quarter, Notre Dame is playing comfortably. They're working inside out. They're getting the shots they want in their offense. And Clemson has really struggled to make a shot, and because of that, they've been playing in transition a little bit. And for Amanda Butler's team, they want to get organized and set their quarter-court defense and not let Notre Dame and Olivia Miles see a big, wide court.
Olivia Miles, second in the nation in assists. Clemson trying to get into the paint, but they wind up turning it over. Miles on the break, little hesitation. That's an easy assist.
You know, I never asked Olivia Miles what she prefers, the assist or the bucket, but I'm going to believe she likes the assist a little bit better.
Well, she does lead this Notre Dame team in both scoring and assists and steals, averages just under 14 points per game.
Top 5 in the nation in distributing the basketball.
And Maya Dotson, the ACC's leading shot blocker, maybe sent a little message there to Delisha Washington.
I mean, Washington just explosive to the bucket, but Maya Dotson meets her in the paint.
It's a
13 the numbers right there on the ACC leaders. Miles and Dotson in those respective categories.
Dodson, one of the seniors, being honored tonight on senior night here at Notre Dame. Darren Mabry, another. Mabry with 3 triples in the game so far to help the Irish cause from the outside. It's a 13-0, make it 15-0 Irish run, and Amanda Butler and Clemson need a timeout. Olivia Miles and Notre Dame looking good at home, snuffing out the Clemson attack. The ACC's Committee for Racial and Social Justice, in conjunction with its member institutions, have identified February 19th through 26th as ACC Unity Week. As a part of this initiative, members of Clemson and Notre Dame join one another on the court to demonstrate their commitment to seeing each other as equals and treating each other with respect and dignity at all times, recognizing that our differences don't divide us, but make us stronger. All right, Debbie, let's see what Clemson comes out of that timeout with, because the Tigers have just starting to let the game get away from them a little bit. They go inside to Robinson.
I think they need to pick up the pace. They need to change the tempo, and that's exactly what Amanda Butler's going to do with their defense. They've got to force Notre Dame to have to handle under ball pressure.
Foul against Michaela Elmore. Split gave the basketball back to the Irish.
We were here today at shoot-around. We watched Amanda Butler go through her scout with her team. It was very personnel-driven. It was an excellent job of preparing her team for the strengths of Notre Dame and trying to take them away. The energy that it's required to do that is challenging for Clemson right now, but they'll get in a rhythm.
This is a Clemson team that has beaten the Irish the last 3 times that they have met, including both meetings last year and one in the ACC tournament. Robinson does get it to go that time.
I think Amari Robinson could be a challenge for them, especially with Maya Dotson not on the floor. See, now Niele Ivey knows that. She's going to counter, bringing Dotson back in.
9 points in the game for Amari Robinson.
Here's a chance to score in transition.
From the corner. Robinson couldn't get her hand on the rebound.
And Clemson's 1 for 8 from the three-point line in the first half.
Inside to Citron, took some contact, made it anyway.
You know what?
10 points.
I like the no call. Probably, if anything, there should have been a foul on the defense. But you don't want to. You want to have a patient whistle in that situation. You don't want to take points off the board.
How about 10 points and 8 rebounds already for Sonia Citron in this game?
She's impressive. She hustles. I mean, Citron's going to have a double-double before the half is over with. It's just a great feed right here. See, I think that Amari Robinson is vertical there, and that's why you don't call the foul. And if anything, the offense initiated. So I'm glad there was a patient whistle and not a foul called. Play on.
On this last play with Olivia Miles driving to the basket, Veronica Hipp, number 4, committing the foul for Clemson. She goes back to the bench. Sunday, it is the last day of the regular season in ACC Women's Hoops. We have a quadruple header on ACCN and the ESPN app, and check out this one to finish it off at 6 p.m. Eastern. NC State, ranked number 3 in the country, going to Blacksburg to take on Virginia Tech. And the Wolfpack with a chance to claim the outright regular season title. They've already claimed at least a share of the ACC regular season title and the #1 seed. But what a game that could be. Over in Blacksburg, Virginia Tech picking up another win tonight. So the Hokies also trying to play to stay in that top 4 just as Notre Dame is.
Virginia Tech 70-63 winner over Miami. And Elizabeth Kitley had 18 points and 12 rebounds in that one. Asia Shepherd with 16 points, 4 for 8 outside the three-point line.
That duo can be so dangerous when they are both on. Dodson, and again.
You know what, Jen? Maya Dodson has changed Notre Dame's team. She has been the key. She's so good inside at finishing around the rim. She's got incredible athleticism, timing on the defensive end to block shots. And you could throw it in there and she can get you a bucket.
Maya Dodson at 6'3", grad transfer, joining the Irish this season.
Anaya Peoples making a really good defensive play there in that zone.
Dodson again! She has 6, and the Irish lead continues to grow.
If Notre Dame, or if Clemson's going to get back in this, Delisha Washington, 0 for 6, is going to have to find a way to get some buckets. They've done a really good job shading her in their zone.
Haven't been a lot of easy looks. You saw Notre Dame really getting some good looks on the interior on the other end. It has not been that way for Clemson on this end.
Bradford has a really good look at that one. She's 0 for 4 out, or excuse me, 0 for 4 outside the three-point line. Notre Dame is looking like a team in the first half that wants to get the double bye. And I think this year, particularly this year, it's really challenging to win the ACC tournament if you don't get the double bye. Now, typically you'd say that in most years, but particularly this year because the top is so good with NC State and Louisville.
There was so much to like about that play from Delisha Washington. She just showed you right there a little flash of what she can do, just did not have the finish. Has not been her night so far.
That's a good hustle play by Hannah Hank to just rip it out of Maya Dodson's hands.
Here is Washington, former SEC co-freshman of the year when she played for Amanda Butler at Florida. Spent 3 years there, and now in her time at Clemson, really the player they have to count on to score a lot of their points. Averages 19.9 in ACC games, which is the tops in the league. Crowd not liking the foul call there on Dodson.
Danielle Ivey thought there was travel before the foul.
Clemson in desperate need of some points. Robinson with her left hand gets them.
Dodson goes out. Robinson scores on the block.
It's 11 now in the game for Amari Robinson. Playing with her dad in the stands, her dad Keith, who played at Notre Dame. You maybe spot him behind the bench. There he is. Easy to spot, right? He's got both halves represented. She said, well, you know, probably in his heart on the inside, he is rooting for Notre Dame. But you can see he's obviously supporting his daughter as well with that nice orange Clemson beanie on his head.
I think he was definitely pulling for Clemson over there. I don't think he's rooting for Notre Dame, not with his daughter out there, Jen. And then today, this is Amari wearing the hat. Ironically, they wear the hat the same way. Amanda Butler pointed that out to us. It's adorable, right?
Can we just give our producer, Derek Coleman, some credit, too, for spotting that and taking a picture? And we didn't know that's what Dad was going to look like, but now we're able to show you the family resemblance.
Butler knew.
From the corner, around and out. And Derek is now giving you the credit, Debbie, for also, giving the heads up. It's a very team effort here.
It's Coach Butler who gets the credit. I like the change, trying to trap. Look at Peoples handle it very well. And then there's Brunel in the shoot.
It was really chaotic on this end of the floor. In the first couple minutes of this game where Notre Dame was turning the ball over, the Clemson defense was giving them trouble. 5 on the shot clock here. They were certainly settled in. Citron did get the shot off before that
big rebound
buzzer sounded. And then there's a foul on the play.
Good defensive possession. That's what you're going to have to do if you're Clemson to grind it out. The next 2 minutes will be really important here. If they can get this down to 14 instead of it going to 26, then they'll have something to work with going into the locker room. And in order to do that, you got to be able to score right here on this possession and then set your D and get a stop.
Just 4 points in this quarter for Clemson. Both of those buckets scored by Amari Robinson, who's calling for it now.
Good skip.
Bradford for 3. Boy, they needed that one.
Big bucket. Now they can get organized defensively.
Deja Nunu Bradford. That's how she goes.
Trapping the wings out of their 2-3 zone. There's another steal.
Washington leading the way, still looking for a first bucket, had it blocked by Dodson. I think that is at least 3 blocks already for Dodson in the game.
Trapping out of that 2-3, a nice job of getting the steal. Look at the eyes of Washington up the floor, and look at the play by Dodson. It's a tremendous defensive play.
Amari Robinson needs Washington to help her out. She's really carrying the load for this entire Clemson team, Robinson, at the moment.
Well, you had an opportunity off your defense to get a bucket. Now you got to get another stop.
Miles inside to Citron. One of those Miles magician moments, just watching her go to work with 4 on the shot clock here.
I think she sees the ice out of the zone and just does a nice job of getting behind her back. What a play right there by Dodson. Just doesn't finish. So long and athletic.
Bradford had her shot blocked. It was hit by Citron as she came running by, and then Dara Mabry went down to the ground holding her left foot. First foul against Mabry. It's 9 points in the game. 3 triples to her name, which is a name that has a lot of triples in this Notre Dame program history. Robinson continues her good first half of play. 13 now for Amari.
Yeah, Amari is sweating through that jersey. She might have to change it at halftime. She's working so hard. Comes a trap. You got to close that trap. You can't let Notre Dame dribble out of that.
Well, there's a lot of contact going on inside. Mai Forsberg was keeping a close eye on Robinson and Westbeld. And Hannah Hank is the one actually who will get called for the foul, and that is her 3rd. So Hank goes to the bench with 3 personals, and Dodson on the free throw line. 6 points in the game for Maya Dodson. They call her the mother of the team, grandma sometimes. She's another one of those players like Washington that's been around the game a while.
Started her career at Stanford.
Washington a little out of control there, lost it. Certainly there's some frustration as the foul was committed after the turnover.
Yeah, Delisha Washington probably can't wait to get to the locker room for halftime so she can reshuffle the deck, right? I mean, just put this one behind you and move forward the first 20 minutes.
Sonia Citron on the line, 11 points now, and she is a rebound away from a double-double in the first half.
You know, if Olivia Miles was eligible for Freshman of the Year, she would probably win it, but she only played in 6 games last year, and I don't know why she's not eligible. It's an ACC rule.
But that does make Citron then the leading contender, I would say, for that Freshman of the Year award, the way that she has played this season. But both of those young players just seem to come so much in the flow of the offense. So now let's see what Clemson can bring out in the second half. This is a Clemson team that has beaten the Irish the last 3 times they have met, including an upset in the ACC tournament last year. And, you know, Clemson was 3 points away, couldn't quite get the win against Duke in their last game. The game before that went to overtime and lost at Georgia Tech. And maybe that's a sign of things to come as Washington finally gets that first bucket.
Well, I think Delisha Washington's got a certain measure of focus about her in the second 20. And when you're a senior and you've been playing well and you've got a sense of urgency about you, you just can't do anything silly. You got to make sure you stay sharp. There's another turnover.
Washington, nice move to the basket. That's back-to-back after she missed her first 9.
I told you she couldn't wait to get back in the locker room to reshuffle the deck. Now it's a 14-point game, and all you want to do if you're Amanda Butler is put some game pressure on Notre Dame.
Mabry, 3 triples in the first half. Michaela Elmore with the rebound for the Tigers. Bradford pulls up, got it.
What a start for Clemson. A 12-point lead for Notre Dame. It was 20 at one point in the first half.
Miles had an open lane to the basket. She wanted Citron for 3. She'll get it.
And that's what Notre Dame can do. They trade 2s for 3s.
Ott with the ball in her hands now. Ott, Robinson, Elmore, Washington.
I don't think that's the shot. I think one more ball reversal. There was time. Michaela Elmore did score over 2,000 points in high school, so she is capable of scoring, but I think that's not the right shot.
Yeah, freshman from Fostoria, Ohio.
See, I think she just traveled. She traveled.
Well, Washington seems to be feeling it here since she came out of that locker room at halftime. 6 points in this quarter in the first couple of minutes, 8 in the game.
And see, this is where Niele Ivey last year may have called a quick timeout. Instead, she's letting her team play through it, right? I mean, you have to have some measure of confidence in this older group on the floor being able to put it together.
Westbeld trying to get inside to Dodson.
It's a great change of pace by Washington.
Well, she's a tremendous scorer. Her numbers certainly point to that. Just hadn't shown it so far in this game until the third quarter started. Miles now with the 3, well off.
Off balance, fading away, falling a little bit backwards. You want to step into that.
And for all the gifts that Miles has, she plays such an important role for this Notre Dame team. You want the decisions to continue to grow and get better. And every time you talk to Niele Ivey, that's what she talks about, the growth that she's seen in her team as the season has gone on.
I think Niele Ivey has a veteran staff over there with Carol Owens and Coquise Washington and Michaela Mabry.
Robinson, what a tough bucket. 15 in the game now for the junior out of Douglasville, Georgia.
Carol Owens and Coquise Washington have both been head coaches in the past. And Amari Robinson continues to impress. And there's a transition. The tempo of the game is picked up in Clemson's favor, and now Niele Ivey says no more.
Clemson starting the third quarter with a bang. Timeout, Notre Dame. Clemson on a 12-5 run to start the third quarter. Delisha Washington has 6 of those 12.
Well, she's the ACC's top scorer. She goes 0 for 8 in the first half. She gets in the locker room and she gets that focus back. She has 3 for her last 4 here in the second half. This is exactly what Clemson needed to get back in the game, as Amari Robinson has held them in, and now Delisha Washington can bring them back.
And look at those numbers of what she has done the last couple of games, last 3 coming into this one, averaging 28 points per game. Of course, that 40 spot against Georgia Tech, most by any player in an ACC game this season, helps with that, but it just shows you the type of production she has been able to have. Speaking of production, when you get in the hands of number 0 for Notre Dame, it's been money in the bank.
Yeah, you got to drop down on that backside of the zone. That pass shouldn't get there. And then Washington turns it over.
Citron trying to get it out of the corner. And Dodson towing the line with those, how many boards over there, Debbie?
Nice back door. Oh, Miles keeps it in bounds, though. What a pass by Mabry.
I was trying to set you up with your boards over there in the corner. Dodson probably has pretty good sized feet over there. She kept it in.
Well, you got to be in the deep corner to count the panels.
It doesn't count? Okay.
No, that was more like mid-wing.
Okay. A little more room to work.
Free throw line extended. Because there have been not many three-point baskets made by Clemson, only 2. Notre Dame's zone is shrinking. And that means that they're gapping it, they're playing in the paint. They've got 8 to 10 feet in the paint. Clemson's going to have to make some shots to loosen it up.
The ACC's Committee for Racial and Social Justice, in conjunction with its member institutions, have identified February 19th through 26th as ACC Unity Week. Here in the final week of the regular season in the ACC, the tournament coming up next week. Now, this is not official just yet, okay? This is what the seedings and the standings would look like after the games that have already been played tonight are completed. Now, Boston College and Duke are still in action. Obviously, we are still in action, but it gives you an idea, still with games left to play on Sunday, of at least what it looks like right now.
It's just sort of a little bit of a hint of what could happen. Not much could really change there, so there are a few things that could be different, but not a lot.
As it relates to our game, as we've talked about from the outset, on the line for Notre Dame, they can ensure that they have a double bye, regardless of what happens in their game here on their home floor on Sunday against Louisville, if they get a win against Clemson tonight. Nunu Bradford hands it off to Gaines. Hank, little shot Blake on the shot blocker.
Nice. That's exactly what you do, though. You've got to show the ball, but you got to finish that play. Doesn't feel any contact, turn and face. Very quick move by Hannah Hank, just didn't put it down.
Delisha Washington got this third quarter off to a roaring start for the Tigers. Citron gives it up just at the last moment to Miles. Sonia Citron with the assist on that play. Already has her 5th double-double of the season with her points, 17 of them, and rebounds 10.
I mean, you got to knock down that high post shot. That's back-to-back plays at the elbow that Clemson's had really good opportunities and didn't make the shots.
Brunel hadn't been hitting the 3 the last couple of games. Got herself an open look. Miles spinning into the basket and in. Washington for three, and it's good.
You know, you play her soft because she's so dangerous getting in the paint, but her three-point shooting in February has been outstanding. That's the area where she has improved the most. And by the way, not only is her three-point shooting improved, I checked it today. She only has 8% body fat. 8%. She's an incredible athlete.
Trying to get her team back into this game in the third quarter. Miles tried to get rid of it, could not do it in time. Gets whistled for the offensive foul. It's her second personal in the game. Well, Monday, the tournament, A History of ACC Men's Basketball, continues on ACC Network with episode 7 that highlights 1984 to 1989. That's at 9 Eastern, followed by episode 8, which breaks down 1990 through 1997. New episodes of the 10-part documentary available every Monday at 9 and 10 Eastern through March 7th. Pull up from Bradford. Hank came in to try to get the rebound. It'll stay with Clemson under the basket.
You know, what resilience by Clemson to keep fighting, right? I mean, they keep cutting it now. If they can get it to single digits here in the next 2 minutes. Now I'm going to say the same thing I said the last 2 minutes of the second quarter. Okay, can they make this game 6 points one way or the other, right? They need to get it inside 6 more points and not let Notre Dame go up another 6. The next 3 or 4 possessions really important for Clemson.
Washington driving to the basket, blocked by Dodson.
Wow, that was impressive.
Dodson on the offensive end. The exclamation point to the block on the other side.
Big, long, active, strong. Look at that solid base. I mean, she catches that ball with 2 hands like she's in a phone booth.
Remember how emotional she was after one of Notre Dame's biggest wins of the season when they knocked off NC State. She talked about her leadership, what she had to do for this team. Well, she's doing it all right now.
I'm telling you, she is the difference for Notre Dame. She has really emerged as the season has gone on. That is 3 consecutive plays. The block, the bucket, the steal, and then that's actually 4. 4 consecutive winning plays to give Notre Dame some separation.
13 points for Dodson, and add another.
She even gets the dead roll to go in.
Washington. Another rebound for Dodson. She's getting up there close to a double-double now, too. Citron already has one, with 3 Irish players with double-doubles in their last game. And on senior night, I bet Maya Dodson's parents getting a little extra enjoyment over there with what their daughter's doing on the floor right now.
She plays hard, gives great effort.
Peoples in off the bench, basketball in the bucket.
So this is Amari Robinson time now for Clemson without Dodson on the floor.
Yeah, just 2 points since halftime for Robinson. She had 13 in the first half for the Tigers. Bradford instead hits the 3. 12 now in the game for Bradford. Clemson hanging around, but 16 points to lead as Dara Mabry tries to figure out the final 10 seconds of the third quarter. Peoples calling for it in the corner, sets her feet.
Well, she's not a 3-point shooter.
Good if it goes for Bradford. So Clemson actually outscores Notre Dame in the third quarter, but it is still a 16-point Irish lead with 10 minutes left to play.
She was just sort of messing around. She got serious, and she has been an incredible weapon since she's become a starter. And I think it was a good coaching adjustment by Niele Ivey to get her on the floor and make her a focal point of what they do on both ends.
Bradford to the bucket. Maybe Bradford starting to heat up for Clemson as they try to claw their way back into it. 14 in a game for Bradford.
Clemson has played more man-to-man in the second half, and they've been more aggressive, and that's a matchup that Dodson's going to win. And she runs the floor. I mean, I love that she runs every time. She doesn't jog or run at the level of the ball. She gets back and gets ready to play some defense.
Robinson has been quiet after a big first half. She is fouled this time, though, by Citron. It's a second against Citron. Tomorrow, the first baseball game of the season on ACC Network I know, we're into spring sports, has the 9th-ranked NC State Wolfpack playing the first of their 3-game series with Quinnipiac. Our coverage begins at 6 Eastern from Doak Field at Dale Park, and you can always watch on the ESPN app from anywhere.
Coach Avon, I heard him on Packer and Durham I guess it was last week. He's such a great guy, such a huge fan favorite, and I'm looking forward to catching a baseball game in the spring at NC State. I hope I can get over there and catch one.
I would love to know the number of basketball games that you have been present at, either watching or calling this season. You give me that number, and then we'll add on some baseball.
I don't like to tell that number.
It's a lot.
I want to work every night. Bosses are listening. I say it all the time. I do like to work every night.
16 in the game for Dodson. She is 7 of 9 from the floor. Has just been unstoppable when she's gotten the ball in her hands. Washington caught too deep with it. And it will stay with the Tigers. One out off of Notre Dame. Shot clock at 10. Bradford wanted to get Robinson the basketball.
You got to shoot that. And that's part of not having a natural point guard for Amanda Butler and making decisions like that. Tell you what, though, they got some players coming in next year. McDonald's All-American, Ruby Whitehorn. I can't wait. Ruby, can't wait to see what you're going to do. And then my buddy KK Bradford coming to play for Notre Dame. She's a McDonald's All-American. KK, I know what you're going to bring. I've seen it.
Tigers ready for an infusion of some new players coming in after they did take several losses this year. Gabby Elliott, Kiera Lewis, both opting to leave the program. Elliott transferring, and Dodson continuing to go to work. Latrice Sane, the 6'4" grad transfer, also no longer with the team. So there have been a lot of losses that this group has had to absorb.
Dribble with a purpose. Move the ball. Play unselfishly. 60% of Notre Dame's baskets are assisted on the season. That is an excellent number. It always speaks to the culture here about serving the game to make the game easier for your teammates. Oh, Dodson, come on.
I mean, that's 5.
That might have been a foul.
Citron, another bucket. Citron and Dodson, the stars of the show for Notre Dame, especially in the second half, is when Dodson's really started to take off. Miles.
That's her signature. One-handed layup.
6-0 run by the Irish, and Notre Dame starting to open it up now here on their home floor. They're running the floor, and Miles, the magician, no extra magic needed on that one. players being honored at Notre Dame tonight. Dara Mabry, one of those for the Irish. She had a little surprise pregame in case you missed this earlier. That's when she sees her mom, Patty, who surprised her youngest daughter to come here on senior night, just as she has done for her 2 older daughters, Michaela and Marina, who played here at Notre Dame. We enjoyed getting a chance to talk to Patty before the game and try to get some more details on this great family and the feistiness that runs through all the Mabry veins.
I was trying to get some dirt on them. She wouldn't give it up. You know they had a lot of fun growing up, and you know that they were tough, and they lived in a disciplined household. I bet family dinner was really fun.
You're just still trying to work to get that invite, I know.
Oh, I'll be there one day.
Dodson, make it 20 for Maya Dodson to go along with 8 rebounds.
Well, she is going,
$5.
she is an issue. She is going to be a problem for a lot of people if she plays like that. With the rest of the balance that Notre Dame has around them, this is going to be really fun. And they're, you know, right now, top 16 seed, which means they get to host. So they're on that host bubble. That's another reason why this game is important.
3 on the shot clock for Bradford, who beats it.
Yeah, I think Nunu Bradford and Felicia Washington and Kiana Gaines, those 3 on the perimeter are really tough to deal with.
And Robinson was certainly a handful on the interior in the first half, but Notre Dame really quieted her down after halftime. .16 points in the game for Bradford, who tries to go inside to Robinson. Tonight at 10 Eastern, after our women's basketball doubleheader, the women's Nothing But Net crew will break down the night in the ACC with highlights and analysis of every women's game and look ahead at the best matchups on the schedule coming up on Sunday and Saturday night at 9 Eastern. The men's Nothing But Net crew have you covered. That's all right here on ACC Network and the ESPN app. Robinson driving baseline.
There's a nice
another
take.
2.
Really nice finish.
18 points in the game now for Robinson on 8 of 10 shooting from the floor on a night where her dad, Keith, who played for Digger Phelps here at Notre Dame, is in attendance watching with her mom and her sister.
Her mom, Andrea, don't forget her jersey's hanging in the rafters at Providence. She was an All-American player back in the Big East, and Sister Kennedy is here as well. I'm a big fan of Kennedy's.
Robinson has certainly done her part. It's just been not quite enough from the rest of the Clemson team for most of the night. Washington came out strong in the third quarter, but was held without a field goal in the first half.
You know, Brunel is wearing that wrap on her shoulder. She got hurt in the Louisville game in the last game, and she just doesn't look like she's herself tonight. Not quite 100%, I mean, but she did get a rebound in the first half with one shoe. Her shoe fell off. She tossed it to the side. She kept playing. Made a trip up and down the floor before she got the shoe back on.
I almost forgot about the one shoe rebound. Well, as short as this Notre Dame bench is, Sam Brunel, Anaya Peoples coming off the bench play extremely important roles and will be important once you start getting into that tournament postseason format, which awaits the Irish. As you said, right now, Notre Dame with an opportunity to stay in those top 16 seeds nationally, have a chance to host the NCAA tournament first and second rounds right here at Purcell Pavilion. And Charlie Cream projecting the regions there. You can see now this changes, of course, every day with what's going on across the country, but got a number of ACC teams an opportunity to be in there hosting NC State, Louisville.
Well, Notre Dame a 4 in Spokane, and You know, that three that you see down there in the Wichita region with UConn, well, forget about that. They're going to be back in Bridgeport. Paige Beckers is supposed to come back, has been cleared to play on Friday. So their seed is going to go up.
Citron now with 19 points for Notre Dame. That already goes with a career-high 12 rebounds and 8 assists in the game.
Another nice backdoor look. Good ball movement. Nice play. High off the glass by Citron.
And actually, that basket made it 21 for Citron. So she has 21. Dodson with 20 to lead the way for Notre Dame. Gaines, Elmore open on the inside, not for long. When Dodson is lurking, you never feel too open.
Well, I think Elmore has had a tough time finishing around the basket tonight. She took a three that was quick. She had an elbow jumper. She's missed a couple of shots in the paint, but she's got potential.
Well, Burnell had a wide open look. I think you're right, Debbie. I think that shoulder maybe giving her a little bit of trouble. She'll try it again. Same spot. Bingo!
Well, they run that ghost screen, which is an exchange to try to confuse the defense, especially when the defense is switching. And that's Brunel's shot, and that's her spot on the floor. She has a lot of confidence in the middle third.
Hannah Hank is fouled. She'll get another look at that last play by the Irish.
So watch the exchange right here. Hannah Hank, is it a switch? Is it not? It's confusing for the defense. That's why you see that play run a lot. And that's just a great combination and a nice set by Niele Ivey late in the game to get Brunel an open look.
Clemson just struggling to get it in. Miles snags it. Miles behind the back. I mean, come on. She is so much fun to watch. I know she didn't get the finish, but she had that open layup earlier on the break. She kept it simple, went the one hand. This time she tried to add a little something.
Well, she's got a little mustard, that's for sure. You know, but I love the way she moves on to the next play. You know, and her court decisions on the floor tonight have been much better. I mean, she has shown the ability in the past to turn the ball over. So tonight she has a very good assist-turnover ratio. She has 8 assists and she has 3 turnovers. She averages 7 assists and 4 turnovers. So she's plus tonight.
And I think...
And she's going to be really good. I mean, she's already good. She's got incredible upside. I think she's going to be tremendous in the ACC. She's going to have to work on her body a little bit, you know, but she sees the floor so well.
I think those turnovers came early in the game, too, if I recall. 2 of them in the first half for sure. Citron is fouled. Has Notre Dame gotten, do you think, what they needed performance-wise out of this game tonight, Debbie, as you look at what Citron and Dodson have done?
Oh, I don't think there's any question they've played well. I mean, they got 75 points with still a minute 50 to play. They've held Clemson at 53. I think their balance is what makes them unique and special. They have 5 players on the floor typically that can score. And Peoples is not known as a scorer, but she has more rebounds than points, but she does play her role really well.
23 now for Citron. Are you looking at the ACC Freshman of the Year? She certainly has to be a leading contender.
I think so. I mean, since Miles is not eligible. She played in 6 games last year and was deemed ineligible for that award. So I'm not sure why that's the case, because 6 games is not a lot, but maybe it has to do with the COVID rule or COVID year. But I think Citron's the best freshman in the ACC. And Cheyenne Day-Wilson at Duke is a good freshman as well, but I think Citron's going to win the award.
Your vote would go to Miles, I assume. Were she eligible?
I think so.
Well, the crowd was ready to jump up as one of the bench players for the Irish getting in there, taking that shot, but couldn't get the finish. Cernugal took that shot for Notre Dame. Sarah Cernugal, the sophomore. And I do hope I'm pronouncing her name right. Usually I double check those things. So Sarah hopefully got that right. She took her shot. Trinity Cha also in now. She's got the ball in her hands. And this is a minute that the Irish can savor. They've earned it to this point. They did what they set out to do. They're coming off back-to-back tough games on the road, including one that they won in overtime at Georgia Tech. They wanted to know that they were going to be secured of that double bye for the ACC tournament after tonight. They did that, and doggone it, Cha couldn't get that three-pointer in before that buzzer sounded, but it sure looked pretty anyway.
Miles was trying to get it to her. Trying to set her up for that.
Maddie Ott can't hit for Clemson. And the Tigers, 3-13 ACC record on the season. Put up a fight at times, just not enough to hang with this Notre Dame team tonight that's ranked number 14 in the country. They've used the glass a couple of times, Clemson, but in the end, Notre Dame victorious, and the Irish do indeed secure a top 4 spot in the ACC.